Using dynamic opt-in forms can triple your conversions. Find out how on today's episode.
Today's episode is brought to you by Social Pilot, the social media and marketing tool for bloggers and small businesses. Join over 20,000 social media pros at servenomaster.com/socialpilot today.
Are you tired of dealing with your boss? Do you feel underpaid and underappreciated? If you want to make it online, fire your boss and start living your retirement dreams now, then you've come to the right place. Welcome to Serve No Master Podcast, where you'll learn how to open new revenue streams and make money while you sleep. Presented live from a tropical island in the South Pacific by best-selling author Jonathan Green. Now, here's your host.
If you visit my website and read blog posts on different topics and look at different areas of the website, you may have noticed that more and more different opt-in forms and free gifts are making an appearance. Now I have a special free gift that goes with podcast episodes. I have a different special free gift that goes with copywriting, blog post topics, and some other topics, and more amazing new things. I have a new special opt-in form for networking. You may be wondering what's going on here. If you've been a follower of Serve No Master for a while, if you've been a follower of mine for the past year, you may be wondering why suddenly there are all these different topics everywhere. Why have I spent so much time and invested this energy in creating so many free gifts? And the reason is that different offers will convert better. See, if someone is interested in copywriting and they find my website, they read one of my articles about copywriting, and in the corner, there's my generic quit your job bootcamp offer, which is my standard how to escape the 9 to 5 bootcamp. It's my jumpstart program. When people see that, they're not as excited about that because it's not targeted. They're interested in something more specific than just quitting their job, and they want something more specific. And you'll notice I'm doing more and more testing with these forms. So what happens when you have a more specific offer that really fits what someone's interested in, conversions go way up. They go through the roof. Now, right now, quizzes are also very trendy, and I may begin testing quizzes as another opt-in template. But the idea remains the same. The more specific the opt-in is to the blog post, the higher your conversion rates will be. If someone visits my blog, they go to the homepage, and then they go to the blog page, and then they read a post, they've already had 2 opportunities to opt into the first offer, and they weren't interested. Or they were, and it's already done. Either way, third time's not going to be the magic charm. So it's unnecessary to continue to show the same thing over and over again. What I want you to think about, and this is just an idea to plant the seed for you right now, is on your website, on your blog, it would be better to have more different offers. The most valuable thing you can possess is your mailing list. Your mailing list allows you to message your offer over and over again. It allows you to message your audience every time you have a new idea, or you see an amazing promotion, or you see a coupon. And you'll notice that when you have the ability to send out these messages and reach your audience at your convenience, your income goes through the roof. 90% of your sales and profit in a business will come from your email list. It comes from the ability to reach people when you want to. That is very powerful and very dynamic, and that's something that you want to lock into. The more you can grow your mailing list, the faster you can grow that list, the better. Everything you can do to accelerate that growth will accelerate the growth of your business. As far as the technology, how can once we establish our baseline, that building your mailing list is a priority, that it will increase your income, that it's your most valuable asset, then it makes sense to do everything in your power to improve and tweak those numbers to maximize how many people you get on your mailing list. See, if you just do a small change, and increase 10%, maybe you go from getting 10 people a day to 11, that means that you get 3 extra days every month. By the end of the year, you have an additional month's worth of people. That's very valuable. That's a huge amount of growth. That's a huge amount of benefit for you. That's a 10% pay raise. That's a 10% increase in your income. That's so valuable. That's why we want to constantly do things and constantly improve the way we bring people into our tribes and families. Most people, we start a blog, we put in all the effort, and we create that initial free gift the very first week, our very first idea. I can tell you right now that right from day one, I had my Quit the 9 to 5 bootcamp. Now I've tweaked the emails and I've tweaked the actual training a few times to improve it. In fact, I went over the training just 2 days ago to see if the emails are still exactly what I want them to be. They're very clear about their messaging. But the offer itself, we often let sit there for a very, very long time. And we want to do better than that. We want to remember how important this part is. A lot of what we do, a lot of building your blog, a lot of building out your online business, you think of something done as soon as it's done. You want to feel like, okay, it's done, I can work on something else. But unfortunately, it's not that easy. It requires a lot of time and effort to constantly tweak and improve things. Remember, we've talked about in the past, the 80-20 rule, the idea that once we put in 80% of the work, it's time to work on other stuff, and it's okay if something's 80% done. But we want to eventually go back and tweak and get that extra 20% when we have time, when all the other assets are in place. So some of the things I'm working on right now are really improving my email campaigns, really improving all of my automations. Because of the way ConvertKit works, because it's a very complicated and advanced email system, I have to set up tons of rules. So that once you take an action, you start getting the appropriate emails, you start getting the appropriate messages. And more, I want to create sequences that are very valuable to you. The more you see offers that you want to see, the more you get emails about the right topics, the more likely you are to want to follow me, join my tribe, read my other messages, buy my other products, and use them. What I really care about is implementation. So finding the right thing for you is absolutely critical. You'll notice over the coming months that I'll continue to tweak and improve more and more my forms because it's important to me. It's important to my business and it's important to the growth of Serve No Master over the next year. It's one of the areas where I'm really focusing. And you'll notice more and more podcast episodes will talk about this really important topic. How can you do this? How can you set up forms that appear different on different pages? One of the reasons that I love Thrive Themes, and yes, one of the products they often mention at the start of my podcast, and there's a reason for that. They present many of my podcast episodes and they're awesome. Serve No Master is built entirely on that platform. I was using a different platform before and it took me 6 months to realize my mistake, and it took 6 more weeks to change from the old platform to Thrive Themes. The site is now faster, the site's more dynamic, and everything's easier. There are other opt-in options, of course. You can use other forms, you can use other setups, but with Thrive Themes, you can create a bunch of different variations of opt-in forms and say, I want this to show on a page about this category. So anytime you see a post about networking, if one of the keywords is networking in the tags, or if the category of the post is networking, and you click on either one of those, you'll see all my posts for that topic. They all trigger my networking opt-in form. So my special networking bootcamp, it's a little 20-minute audio I put together to really explain the basics, the foundation of my networking strategy. By having this in place, I can then know what you're interested in and provide something that fits it. If you're reading posts about networking, you're probably interested in networking. Now, if you're already a member of my tribe, if you already are on my mailing list, if you already email back and forth with me, then of course, it's just another bonus for you. It's another free gift. It won't change anything. It's for catching the people that haven't clicked on some of the other buttons. It's for catching more and more of the people that visit my website and leave without joining my mailing list. I want to do better than that. If you read a post about copywriting, you now get access to my ultimate swipe file. I put together a massive list of pre-1970s long form ads that you can copy by hand to become a better copywriter. This is something very, very powerful because it's all you need to become a copywriter. You don't need to spend thousands of dollars on courses. You can start with something very simple and very powerful. And now once someone's joined that list, I know, okay, these people are interested in copywriting. So if one of my friends puts out a really amazing copywriting course, I know who to send that offer to. I think these are the people interested in copywriting. Here's an amazing course that can accelerate, that can help you beyond what you've already got. This allows me to send more targeted offers. This gives me a deeper understanding of my audience. And these are two very, very valuable things. And to set up the dynamics, you create different opt-in forms. And using Thrive Themes, you just click on each form and say, I want this to appear for posts about this topic. I want this to appear for posts about that topic. That's how we do our targeting. And what's really great is there's another plugin, I'll post a link below to it. There's a little plugin that allows you to make a sidebar box sticky. What that means is as you slide down, one of the boxes from the sidebar will slide down with you rather than just disappearing. This is a new piece of technology that I've begun implementing on the website. And the reason I do that is so that it stays with you as you read the blog post and you go, oh, you know what? I do want to grab the opt-in form. This does make sense. I do want to grab this free offer. As you test adding more offers to your website, you'll see your numbers go up. Every new opt-in form will give you more and more people. Yes, you'll get some people that already grabbed some of the other free gifts. That's okay. I'm happy to give every single free gift to every single person who visits my website, listens to podcasts, reads a blog post. That's awesome for me. That increases our engagement. That increases our relationship. If you want to take every free thing, go for it. But the real value is in catching those people that your first free gift missed. The more targeted, the more powerful your opt-ins are, the larger your list will become, the faster you can grow it. Eventually, on my website, when you read about one of my 8 primary topics, I have 8 main topics I like to write about. Earning your first $1,000 online, copywriting, becoming a freelance writer, networking, starting a local consultancy business. These are some of my primary topics. And so I want to create areas of the website that speak to each of my 8 segments of my audience, so that people that are interested in a specific topic, they can read all the posts on that specific topic, listen to the blog posts on that specific topic. Some people are only interested in travel. So I want to give them information just about that. The more targeted information, the happier you're going to be. If you only want to read my blog posts about traveling and you don't care anything about copywriting, you want a way to bypass that. And if you take one of my traveling free gifts and a whole gift about finding ways to find really cheap plane tickets or ways to travel in the world, stuff like that, then that's what you're interested in hearing about. Not everyone wants to hear about everything, and I understand that. As much as I try to have a specific message for this website, there are people that different parts of that message resonate with. Some people never want to travel, and they just want to make enough money to make ends meet. Some people want to quit their jobs. Some people are out of work and want to support their families. Some people just want to make enough money to live that life. And some people dream of traveling full time. And some people dream of living in the mountains instead of on a beach. I understand all of that. And more, as my audience grows, my audience is getting very large now, I want to create a message that reaches everyone. And you should replicate these same efforts on your blog. Create 2 or 3 different options. Now, you may feel like, you know what, I'm not ready. I haven't really dialed in my message enough to think of 4 or 5 different topics. One of the things I'm working on right now, and I'm trying to think about the best way to deliver this content. And in fact, I might replace the Escape the 9-to-5 Bootcamp, which is kind of a mindset training course if you've been through it. I'm thinking about a course and trying to think of the best way to deliver the content on how to make $1,000 in the next 30 days. I really want to dial in that message, and I'm thinking of the best way to do it. Now, the content is already on the website. If you read the right blog post and you listen to some of the early podcast episodes, I cover exactly how to do that. But I'm thinking that I need to be more and more specific. I've been working on my start page, which I'll talk about in a later episode more and more. But I want to make it really clear for those people, the people that are just starting out, that need to make that first infusion of cash, exactly how to do it. So I'm thinking about creating another primary offer. And this is exactly what you can do. Create 3 or 4 big picture offers. Let's say you have a blog about dogs. Your first option could be all about how to rescue a dog or how to know if you want to rescue a dog. Your second offer could be all about potty training a dog. And the third offer could be about how to train your dog or housebreak your dog, or how to train your dog to behave inside the house, how to train the dog to bark when there's a stranger outside. So we have a couple of large universal dog things, okay? And you just rotate all 3. There are tons of free plugins. You don't need Thrive Themes or anything that costs money to test this way. And you just have the 3 offers rotate, and you see which one people respond to the most. And in fact, you can leave all 3 running for a long time, because people will randomly see all 3 different ones. They go, oh, you know what? I do care about that. Now, eventually, as you have enough content, you'll have blog posts about dogs peeing in the house. You'll have blog posts about dog chewing up your shoes. You have blog posts about other things, and you can then move them and target. But start off just running 2 or 3 primary offers on a cycle. And now that I've said this, I'm going to have to put together my 1K in the month special offer. I'll have to create that opt-in now that I've talked to you about it. It puts a little pressure behind me, and that's okay. I'm willing to do that. That's one of the reasons I love doing these podcasts, is that it puts a little extra impetus behind me, a little inspiration to do more. I'm always trying to improve my site and then share with you the strategies I'm implementing, because it's impossible to do everything at once. And so as I do things over time and share that with you, we can accomplish more and more wonderful things. Whatever you're doing with your website, I'm very proud of you for taking action, putting up your first website, putting up your first blog. And I know that if you're just getting started and you've just got your first opt-in up, this might feel a little bit overwhelming. This is an intermediate lesson. This is not for total beginners. This is not something to do right when you start your blog. This is something to implement once you've been live for a while. This is something that you do once you have 50 or 100 blog posts, once you're kind of in that range. So if you're writing a blog post a day, don't even think about this for 2 or 3 months. And most people can't generate that many blog posts. I understand that. So maybe it's like 6 months in or 9 months in, that's okay. So think of this as a phase 2, as an intermediate thing to do as you're growing and building your business. You only need one opt-in when you have 10 blog posts. When you get to where I am, and I have, I think around 150 to 200 posts now. Now they're on the other side of my 100th podcast episode. Since each podcast is its own blog post, I know that we're in deep territory. We have a lot of content, and I want to provide things that are valuable to you and valuable to me. And so growing, and this is a growth phase I'm in, and this is exactly what you should do 9 months in. I'm about 9 months into Serve No Master. When you add this change and start to think about other things that will be valuable, you'll notice that you can breathe new life. See, when you first set up your opt-in form, your blog first starts growing, you'll get a lot of people to join your list. You're like, oh, great, I've got 100 people, but then that number will slow down, and instead of getting one a day, you're getting one a week. This is a way to rebuild that number and start catching new people, because some people will see that and go, oh, I'm not really interested in that. I read a certain number of blogs. I read about 3 or 4 blogs and look for ideas, and I check out what they're doing. So when I visit them, I've already seen their offer 3 or 4 times. I don't join other people's mailing lists very often. Because I'm interested in marketing, I've been doing this for so long. At one point, I was on dozens and dozens of mailing lists, and I'm still constantly going through and trying to unsubscribe. I got to a point where I was just getting too many emails. I can't keep up with all of them. And I've moved from the content receiver to the content provider. So people who visit your site and they didn't grab your offer the first time, if it was a little bit interesting, it didn't quite connect with them, you don't want to lose them forever. They may be coming back to your blog over and over again. And you want to find a way to improve that relationship, to up the power of your communication. So think about creating multiple offers. The first step is to create a couple, 2 or 3 offers that you want to put site-wide. And then eventually, once you kind of have that running, you feel comfortable with that, you want to go to the point where you have 4 or 5, maybe even 10 different free gifts or free offers or free promotions that fit the different subcategories of what you're teaching. Let's do one other example, because I know that when I read a blog post or when I listen to a podcast, I like lots and lots of examples. So let's talk about yoga. I know I talk about yoga a lot. It's just one of my standard go-to ideas. Imagine you have a yoga blog. Perhaps one of your free gifts is a 10-minute warm-up video. And that's going okay, but over a while, you notice that it's not getting as much traction as it used to, or you want to see a bump in your numbers. Maybe you try and add in some specific things, like how to deal with back pain. Does your back hurt? Or maybe you add in one about a hot yoga warm-up, how to set up your own hot yoga situation in your house, how to create a hot yoga room in your bedroom, or whatever. That might get other people. Then maybe you grab in and create something new that I see that's trending, how to create a cold yoga room. So here's a couple of things you could do. How to make your own yoga clothes, or how to find the cheapest yoga clothes, or maybe even say, hey, click here to get a 10% coupon from Lululemon or one of the other big yoga clothes providers. So you have a couple of different things you're trying out, and you notice, oh man, everyone's grabbing the coupon. That's my best one. So whichever one is getting the most all over numbers, you make that your primary. And then only on your posts about cold and hot yoga do those 2 appear. And only on your posts about back pain do those appear. And then your posts about beginners, that's where you move your beginner content to. So you can experiment and get these numbers. And once you've done that, you can really, really grow your site. This is how sites get better. Never think of your blog as something static. Yes, the content, each individual post is pretty static, but over time, you can do more things to grow and improve these pieces of your business. Additionally, you'll notice that at the bottom of my posts, I have some new opt-ins appearing dynamically. So the form appears on the side and it appears at the bottom. This is really powerful, and this is a technique that ensures people say, oh, this is a different offer. So one last thing, a few key tips about your opt-in forms. You want them to look very different. You'll notice that my networking form right now, and this may change, is purple. you'll notice that my other one for copywriting, my copywriting form is a turquoise with orange writing. Each of your different opt-in forms should look different, have different colors, so people notice that it's different. If you use the same color, the same fonts, the same design structure, people will think it's the same one. If they don't notice, right, they've accomplished and achieved what's called banner blindness, which is where they see the same form enough times that they simply block it out. Think about your favorite website, or think about when you visit Amazon or Facebook. You ignore those spots where the sponsored ads appear. You're so used to them, you've trained your body just to ignore them. It's the same thing that we do with television commercials. Most of us, as soon as the commercials start, we know to leave the room. We go grab a snack, we go to the bathroom, we know it's break time, or we know to fast forward to those commercials. I've trained myself with my new favorite podcast to listen to. Before they go into the commercial part, they play here's the commercial song. And as soon as I hear that music, I know it's time to fast forward or tune out. We train ourselves, because we get exposed to so many advertising messages, to block them and ignore them as much as possible. We do everything in our power to avoid this constant barrage of advertising because it's overwhelming. We see hundreds or even thousands of ads a day. So each time you create something new, each time you create a new variation, make sure it looks different. And that will really, really improve your numbers as well. These are some powerful ways you can use dynamic opt-in forms and testing different free gifts to triple your opt-ins, and in the long term, triple your business. This is how you build a massive list, and this is how you take a good blog and make it great.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Serve No Master. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss another episode. We'll be back tomorrow with more tips and tactics on how to escape that rat race. Head over to servenomaster.com/podcasts now for your chance to win a free copy of Jonathan's bestseller, Serve No Master. All you have to do is leave a 5-star review of this podcast. See you tomorrow.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Serve No Master podcast. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode.